Odoo Behavior-driven development. We're gonna see what that's. Before just present myself, I'm a Odoo developer and also more globally business application developer. I like to help companies and specialize tools for them. I like also to help DevOps teams to improve their process and the quality as well. So before talking BDD, I'd like to share this famous pyramid from Agile development. At the bottom, you have to spend more time to develop unit tests, and more you are high in the pyramid, more tests are pretty hard to develop, and can be slower. So it just give an idea where you have to spend more time and put more effort in unit test, and when you can automate integration test and automate hand-to-hand test. So just to remember what we have in Odoo, we have unit test. I had a look to the Simon presentation yesterday. It's a great starting point to start. In the front end, not a lot of people knows, but with Odoo, you have QUnit test if you create a front-end widget or component, you can unit test them. Then to test the integration, because Odoo, you have a lot of modules. According how you install, which modules you install, you may wonder if your modules start to carry on to work properly according to the set of modules and configuration you have done. So for that, you can write a unit test as well to test the backend, the main flow of your business. And also you have tools. So if you like JavaScript code, you can write tools that's provided by Odoo framework. And to really test the hand-to-hand test, well, I've put tools in both cases because you can test the integration and also hand-to-hand. So it's simulate clicks in the browser. And there is also a monkey testing where you try every possible clicks. I don't really use this one, but it exists. And what I have experimented is using BDD testing. So I prefer, I'm more Python developer, so I prefer writing Python code. We will see more benefits after. But I will talk about BDD test, which in the pyramid is pretty high test to really test the hand-to-end integration. So what is BDD? This is a Wikipedia definition, which I pretty like. It's an agile software development process that encourages collaboration among developers, quality assurance testers, and customer representative in a software project. I pretty like the idea that it makes a common language between developers, testers, and the customers, the product owner, because sometimes as developer it can be very frustrating to not know, for instance. So this is a gherkin language, which is the common language. It's very you have to respect some structure with keywords, which makes which force the product owner to details the needs, so which is very important for developer to understand why he's developing something, because it lets him more possibilities to implement. If we tell to a developer, do it like this, but develop like this, if you give him a solution, it will be less discouraging for the developer, because he has less possibilities, and it can be produced not a really proper solution. So why we have a use case is very important for me. And here we have some acceptance criteria, which makes how we navigate in the applications. So let's have first demo. Here you have an example of a gherkin language. So I'm using PyTest BDD, which implement gherkin language, or part of it. So the main thing here is the feature we want to test. So we want to test the sales workflow. As a Mark demo, I want to manage my own sales, so I can transform quotation to sales without querying about other sales. So this is why and what is my goal. Then after we have 3 different scenarios. So for instance, I want to test that when I confirm a quotation, the sell order is transferred, the quotation is transformed as a sell order. So to obtain this test, I have to prepare some data. So here we have the background, which will be called for each scenarios. So given I log as demo user and I go to the quotation page, I create a draft quotation and I send the quotation to the customer by email. And here is what we want to test. When I confirm the quotation has been transformed to sell order. So I'm gonna run that test. So I choose behind the scenes Selenium to communicate with the browser. So PyTest BDD is based on PyTest, so I use PyTest to launch my my test, and I just focus to that scenario. It's like selecting test in using PyTest. So I run the test. It will open the browser. connect as demo user, go to the quotation page, create a draft quotation. So to create a draft quotation, it's create new user. Unfortunately, I'm not sure why something wrong happens, but when that's happened, because you can run those tests on CI, or you have a screenshot that is taken just before the crash to let you understand what's happened, and also the HTML code page. I will try to restart the test. So it's run on version 14 Odoo Community Tutorials 14, sorry. And with the sales and account module installed. And it's sent here you go, the test passed. So that's the basis of the experimentations. I will come back with details after. So what are benefits and what we want to test? The idea is to test the main business flows. So I run those tests on a production, well, not on production, but on an anonymized production database. So each day I done the production database, and I anonymized some data, and I use this database in my pipelines on CI workflow. So when I develop a new feature, I get the database, I upgrade all modules, I prepare my Docker images. So like this, I can test the Docker images that will be used, that I will use in testing and production. So this is the real same Docker image, and I run those tests on base of that. This let me, because we should, I mean, I think we shouldn't configure an Odoo by, I think we should, as possible, configure a lot of things on custom modules to make a replicate instance as much as possible. But sometimes that happens with some customer with admin access that can change some configurations or administrate some access rules. So this let test some sort of things that we can't really test in unit test, and because we don't use the production database for testing. So I mean myself. And with this kind of test, you can also test if mail are properly sent using Mailhog, for instance, or testing with some other integration with some other software. If you have dedicated entry for HTTP API that you want to test, that can be very useful. I mean, when you have the front end that need to discuss with the back end to test those kind of dedicated interface, that's pretty useful. I told already about the Docker image, or you can even test on the test platform. And you can also test with multiple browsers in parallel as well. I will show that. So here I have prepare the Docker compose. So I have a Selenium hub with a Selenium grid with two other containers, one with Firefox and the other one with Chromium. So I will change my configurations to use to tell Selenium to use the grid instead the local browser. I think I've prepared local grid. So basically here in my on file, I have configure Selenium config file, which let me configure which browser I want to test, on which browser I want to test a feature. So basically, if I use the same test, it will launch the test twice on each browser. So with PyTest, I don't remember the plugin. With PyTest exist, you can launch your test in parallels. So I can launch a test in parallels. Oops. In parallel in both browser, Chromium and Firefox. As expected, it launches the test on twice, the same test twice, one in Chrome and the other in Firefox. And in a few seconds, I should get the results. And the same as if something crashed, I will get some screenshots. Also with last version of Selenium, you can add container that records what's happened in the container. So you may have a MP4 to watch what's happened. So there are some drawbacks some convenient. Running Selenium tests can be pretty slow. Sometimes, as you see in the demo, there is some weird case where when there is different calls to the backend, which refresh the view, and if you try to click, or you have to wait elements in the page before clicking the element. At the beginning, it can be hard to understand. I thought implied customers in the Gherkin language was not that easy. They understand the interest of testing, but describe the needs to in a Gherkin language. It's quite not that easy, and also sometimes we have some constraint with from the developer point of view, so it's not that easy to really share this language. Preparing test data can be also complex when you use the production database. If you have to prepare some data and if you run tests in parallels, you have to manage to avoid conflicts if you want to get the seller order twice. You have to find a way to get your sellers the given seller orders. And waiting elements can be hard at the beginning. So what we have behind, I already speak a bit. Selenium to interact with the browser. PyTest to launch the test. PyTest BDD to interpret Gherkin language and use each given as a PyTest feature. Selenium configurator, it's to let deport the configuration of the browser in YAML files. And Selenium Odoo pages is actually a set of elements that we can reuse. And if I have time, I don't know really how many times I get. I can dip a bit in this part. So, what's the magic between this language? So you can see you can reuse common not sure way here common sentence. So this avoid to duplicate code. So Selenium Odoo page is a pattern how to, which is suggested by Selenium website, which propose how to decompose your page in the Python code. So you may use Selenium Odoo page to just reuse elements that are developed here without using Gherkin language if you want. But I pretty like Gherkin language because it's forced to use the same pattern and make easy to reuse code. So for instance, I confirm a quotation. So with PyTest BDD, you have a PyTest BDD command which lets you create a skeleton of your Python modules from the Gherkin language. And you have only the names of methods. So PyTest come with decorators that you can use. So scenarios are the name of the test. You have to mark Selenium as which is a conf, which is a PyTest feature. I remember, I think I put it in testing. Here we go. It's basically the Selenium web driver with the request params. It gives you the Selenium web driver. So if you forgot it, it makes some weird message. Then you have here the list of given sentence, which let you code what's happened. So here I have a model which calls seller order form view, and this describes the seller order form view page, and with different elements. So probably a bit confusing. If I go, it's look like this. For each component in the page, I will define which kind of elements if it's the status bar, or the select element, or input element, or many-to-one elements. With this element, you get different behaviors that you can use at the end in your testing code, which provide a pretty clear code, and really, I think, pretty easy to read. I think I share when I create the quotation, here's the code, the draft quotation. I clicked on the create button on the seller order list view, which return me the form view, and then I create a customer name that is unique, and I open the partner. I create the partner form to create the new partner. I give him the email, and the name is defined by default with your search. You save the dialogues, and then you add a line in the quotation. You search a product and you click on it. You change the quantity. You save the seller order. So I think it's quite a clear code and easy to manage. So I'm not sure I'm very clear. So I'm gonna get some question if we have time. Oh, and thank you very much to the OCA for 2 great days, and all sponsors